When it comes to the NAACP, what people have to understand is that, in essence, they are not a proactive organization. They are a reactive organization. And with being a reactive organization, their existence relies on Black America being in a perpetual state of want, a perpetual state of lack, and a perpetual state of need. Without that, the NAACP, as well as many other organizations, would cease to exist. And this is exactly why we witnessed the San Francisco chapter of the NAACP immediately reject a proposal that would potentially deliver reparations in the form of cash payments to the tune of $5 million to Black San Franciscans who qualified, and instead suggested that reparations should come in the form of community programs. And if reparations were to be delivered in the form of community programs, that way they can continue to be the gatekeepers of the resources that Black Americans desperately need, in which all of the funds would flow through the NAACP, to which, after they get done paying themselves and their bills, then they'll sit up on their high horse dictating who gets what in the Black community. This is a tried and true method of ego-driven, self-inflicted oppression that we've seen practiced all across the continent of Africa, as well as Caribbean nations. Disaster strikes, the government of said African or Caribbean nation receives aid from other nations, and then what follows afterward is that the government officials of said nations pocket the money for themselves, and then maybe they might build a flimsy bridge or two just to say technically they did something with the money. Now, here's another interesting piece of information that you may not have been aware of. Did you know that last month the NAACP received a $50 million grant from Wells Fargo? They surely didn't reject that now, did they? Now, let's read their press statement and see what they plan on doing with the $50 million. Today, Wells Fargo announced a $50 million grant to support the nation's largest civil rights and social justice organization in its continued efforts to advance racial equity in America. For starters, you cannot, quote, advance racial equity in America by being a reactive organization. You'd have to be a proactive one, which is what the NAACP is not. So right off the bat, they're starting this press release off with a lie. Wells Fargo's grant will both strengthen the NAACP's local units and support the organization's plan to develop a new national headquarters. Translation: we're going to pass this money around amongst ourselves first and break bread with each other within the NAACP. The grant will assist the NAACP's local units and branches across America by increasing essential staff to implement and sustain meaningful programming, and will support their work to grow strategic partnerships with key businesses and communities across the country. This is just another very wordy way of stating that we're going to pass the money around amongst ourselves. Notice how the language that they use is very broad and general. There's nothing specific here. And you'll notice that the rest of the press release continues to read like that. In addition, at the national level, the grant will support the NAACP's work on policy solutions used to address the needs of the community it serves. Once again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but the NAACP is a reactive organization. They do not work on any policy solutions. The NAACP gets told by the Democratic Party what policies they want them to push on us. They get told what to do. The Democrats say, hey, what we want you to push on Black America is the John Lewis voting rights bill. And then the NAACP's job is to convince you on why you need said bill. The NAACP does not make any demands ever, let alone negotiate anything on your behalf, with the threat of publicly withdrawing support from the Democratic Party if they do not get what they want. They never do that, and they never make any demands. They simply get told what to do.